Yo, what's up, everybody? My name is Jake Demai, and I own a bookkeeping company. The company is called Winona Bookkeeping, and I started it about 4.5 years ago, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I was an employee for a long time, and I honestly I hated being an employee. I didn't know at the time how much I hated it. Now looking back, I just know that I never ever want to be an employee ever again. Owning a business, like I said, it's a lot of fun. Like, there's so much you can do with your own business. You can do whatever you want. You can work as hard as you want. You can make as much money as you want. You can wear whatever you want on any given day. You can work wherever you want. And I think, being an entrepreneur, especially for a bookkeeping company, you just have so much flexibility. You have so much room for making it your own. And that's one of the beauties of owning a business is you can fit it into your lifestyle. You don't have to fit any other mold. You can do it how you can run the company however you want to run it. And so personally, I prefer to be efficient. I prefer to be with my family. I prefer to make a lot of money. There's certain things that I prefer, and I have built my business to fit that. And guys, I make these videos not to boast, not to share, not to flex, but to honestly to share what's worked for me so that you can do the same for yourself. If I can do it, I know that you can do it too. And so hopefully these videos are helpful. In this video, I want to talk about how I made $27,838 in the month of October. It was one of my largest months. My largest month was actually in February. I made $32,000. This past month, I surprised myself. I had a slow September and August, and making this amount of money was surprising to me. And so, guys, I'm going to break down in detail, where that revenue came, the different revenue streams I have. Just to be clear, I only do bookkeeping. And so I'm not doing payroll. I'm not doing sales tax. I'm not like a CFO or a CPA. I just do bookkeeping in QuickBooks Online, and I send financial statements on a monthly basis. I do a couple other things, and I'll kind of go into those in a little bit more detail. But let me just break down the numbers. So of that $27,838, $17,059 came from monthly bookkeeping. So these are my recurring clients. They pay me every month. On the first of each month, I have a direct, automatic withdrawal from their bank accounts, and they pay me. It comes out automatically. They don't even think about it. I don't have to send them an invoice. They pay me, and I have a system set up with my employee where we get the bookkeeping done. So the bookkeeping is, like I said, it's monthly. And so we take all the transactions from the previous month and we compile them. We send the financial statements out, and then we're done. We touch the client once or twice per month. We're not answering calls every day for the same client. We're not helping the same client with special projects. We work on one client per month at a time. And so right now I have about 50 clients that I service. And so of those 50, I make $17,059. I made an additional $8,950 from cleanup work I did. That's a little bit higher than normal. Normally I do about $2,000 or $3,000 worth of cleanup work per month. The month of October was busy. I got a really big job that I talked about before for $5,200. And then I had 3 other cleanup jobs that totaled another $3,500 on top of that. So I had 4 cleanup jobs in total. I also do consulting and training. So anybody who needs help in QuickBooks, or I help this one CFO, I review the work that she does. I provide consulting to other business owners on how they can understand their financials a little bit better. So I made $1,000 from that. I do quarterly bookkeeping. So I made $1,050 from quarterly bookkeeping. $213 came from Intuit revenue share. So, when somebody gets set up with QuickBooks, there's an Intuit revenue share. So I make a little bit of money from that. I do some coaching consultations with other bookkeepers that need help running their bookkeeping businesses. It's super small. I made $290 from that. And then I provide a discount to my monthly bookkeeping clients. If they are okay with getting their financials done later in the month, then I give them a discount of 10 or 15%. And that total discount for the month of October was $731.25. So like I said, $27,838 is what I made in the month of October with my bookkeeping business. Now, let me talk about the expenses. Let's go over in high level. My payroll was $2,754 and my overhead expenses were $1,700. My overhead consists of like software subscriptions I have, like office expenses, insurance, and I think that honestly, that's really it. Oh, my rent, I pay rent, and then just like payroll taxes and things like that. So my profit was, after taking out the expenses, which was about $4,400, my profit was $23,377. So in 1 month, I was able to make that amount of money. And again, guys, I'm not sharing this to boast or flex. It's truly for the employee out there who is thinking about starting a business. It's for the person who is maybe an accountant, has these skills, and is helping somebody else make that kind of money. I'm here to tell you that you can make that money for yourself if you're willing to put yourself out there and take the risk. And so I'm going to share with you real quick 5 quick tips for how you can get started with your bookkeeping business. Things that I did, just mindsets, things you should think about as you start this bookkeeping company. The first tip is take that risk. Take the risk. Do the hard thing. Do the uncomfortable thing. Guys, I'm doing these YouTube videos. These are uncomfortable for me. I don't like being behind a camera, but I'm also committed to doing whatever it takes to push myself and to grow my business to new levels. And so that's what I'm asking you to do right now. You might be in a cubicle at work. You might be listening to this on your commute to work. You need to take a risk. You need to go out and you need to start this bookkeeping business. You need to create the website. You need to post on social media, and you just need to let people know that you do bookkeeping and that you're excited about it. That's the risk. You might fail. That's a possibility. Like, that's the risk, that you look, silly for trying to start a business. But that's the risk. And if you don't risk it, then you will never have a chance at getting to where I am right now. And then the second tip is do whatever it takes. Think outside the box. I think when I first started my business, I ran into some barriers. Like, I had a barrier with work. I was working full time and I started my business on the side. It was difficult for me to find the time to run my business, but I did what it took. I worked in the mornings. I worked at nights. I worked on the weekends. I did whatever it took to get my business to where it is now. And it was not easy, but with a little bit of determination, with a little bit of belief in myself, it ended up working out. Stay focused. So when I started my bookkeeping business, I was committed to only doing bookkeeping and to only do monthly bookkeeping. I knew I didn't want to be a glorified administrative assistant. I didn't want to be like just another office employee. I wanted to have an efficient business that was committed to only providing bookkeeping services. And guys, let me tell you, there are temptations to take on low-hanging fruit. It's tempting to take on payroll, to take on sales tax, to take on like income tax. I was committed to being focused on one service and doing it really well and being the best at bookkeeping and QuickBooks Online. And by focusing on that, it ended up, it was a little bit slow for me in the beginning because I was saying no to things that would have been like easy money, but I knew that it would stretch me out thin and it would force me to like learn a little bit about a lot instead of being all in on one specific thing. So I was committed to being focused on just bookkeeping, even though it meant not landing those few extra $100 from payroll and taxes. Tip number 4 is phasing out. That guys, phasing out of my full-time job was one of the best things I ever did. Not everybody can do it, but I phased out of my full-time job by requesting to work 32 hours a week from my employer. And that one extra day, guys, it gave me the like the springboard to be able to launch my business. And it gave me just enough time to be able to service my clients. I was still working in nights and mornings, but that one day allowed me to do meetings with clients. It allowed me to have just one uninterrupted day that I could devote to my bookkeeping business. And that served me big time. I eventually phased down to 16 hours a week with my full-time employer. And again, guys, that just helped me phase out. I didn't have to like all of a sudden cold turkey quit my job. I didn't have the savings built up to be able to do that. And owning a bookkeeping business takes a lot of time. If you're thinking about starting a bookkeeping business, then you have to be aware of the fact that it's going to take at least a year, if not a year and a half, to take it from start to finish, from scratch with no clients to up to 20 clients. It took me a year and a half to get to about 15 to 20 clients. And it'll probably take you the same amount of time. So if you're patient, if you learn to phase out, then you will be successful. The last tip, guys, is don't give up. There will be months where you won't get any clients. And you saw some of my other videos where I talked about, being a little bit discouraged. That will happen to you, especially in the beginning. You're not going to get any clients in the beginning. Maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get one, but there are going to be months where you don't hear anything. It'll be absolute crickets. And my advice to you is don't give up. Think outside the box. Get creative. Start the YouTube channel. Be a little bit more active on social media. Do things that you wouldn't normally do to put yourself out there. I did lunch and learns for co-working spaces where I bought pizza, I brought it in, and I taught. I taught a little lesson on like the basics of QuickBooks. And guys, that was helpful. I hadn't heard of anybody else doing that, but I went and I did something new. I went door to door. It didn't work, but it was something that like I wanted to do whatever it took to find those clients, because that's the name of the game as a bookkeeper. Is if you can find clients, if you can funnel in the right kind of client, then your business will be successful. And so you have to be able to talk to people. You have to be able to sell yourself, and you have to be confident in the services you're providing. So guys, those are my 5 tips. That's a little bit about how much money I made this month. Hopefully this is helpful for you. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll do my best to respond. I know I don't always respond to comments, but yeah, guys, if this is helpful, if these videos are helpful, please subscribe, like this video, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you.